New Year's have not always been like that for me. Sometimes, if I'm honest, and I'm sharing my life with you, I can remember some years that I just went, oh, I don't got another one in me. And I know that there's some of you that are thinking that about 2009. You don't have to put your hand up, but you're thinking, another year married to this guy, or another year married to that gal, or another year doing this job I can't stand, or can we hold on to the house for another year? Can I hold on to my business for another year? Am I going to have a job for another year? Or I've been looking for a job and now I'm going into another year without one? It can be hard, can't it? I remember in 1993, the transition from 1993 was a really, really difficult one for me. New Year's Eves were always the biggest night of the year for itinerant touring bands. If you were a touring band, a gigging band, and you weren't working on New Year's Eve, you had a problem, because that was the biggest night of the year. Am I right, Brent? You remember those days when you gigged and did those? Those are the you got to work. That's how you pay for Christmas. And so for 10 years, I did 10 consecutive New Year's Eves from 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. So 10 in a row with basically the same group. My brothers, and we're all close. And so for 10 years, we grew up. We kind of grew up with one. Our wives were best friends. Our kids were growing up together. We traveled together. We lived together. We fought together. We just were very, very close for 10 years. But as things sort of escalated in the lives of our band and our group, tensions created. There was some problems. There was some things that were kind of rising to a head, and I can't go into all of the details. But the New Year's Eve of 1993 was when it all escalated, and everything came crashing down. The wheels came completely off the tracks. And we were playing a gig in Twain Harte, California, which is kind of a resort town in Northern California. We were playing a gig there, and of course, these are all my brothers and everything. And we got through the 3 sets. Midnight strikes. We play Auld Lang Syne, and we do the da-da-dee-da-dee-da-da. Everybody, hoists their champagne bottles. And we got through that part of it. And then right after that, the wheels just come completely off the tracks. The tensions had escalated. There was some outbursts. Somebody got threatened to be sent to the hospital, and there was some fighting. And of course, then one guy went home. The bass player left. And of course, when that happens to the band, everybody in the club leaves, because the band is imploding right in front of you. So everybody leaves. I go, and the bass player left, so I ran back to my room to get a bass guitar. I'd been playing a little bit of bass, but I didn't know it very well. But we were going to finish the set because we were determined. There was, still 20 or 30 people in the club, and we had to finish it. So we went. I got my bass guitar, and we're trying to think of every 3-chord song we know, because I'm not very good. And so we went. I got the guitar. I got the bass, and the last song that we ever played together, the last one that we played together as a band, after 10 years of playing, see if I can remember how to do this. After 10 years, this was the magnificent end of my career in club music. See, I wasn't a very good bass player, so it had to only have 3 chords, and you had to play them for a really long time. That's A, by the way. I got a little change in my pocket going jing-a-ling-a-ling-a. Well, I call you on the telephone, honey. I give you a ring, but each time I call, I get the same old thing. Oh, with no huggy, no kissy, until I get a wedding ring. My honey, my baby, don't put my love up on the shelf. He said, don't hand me no lines and keep your hands to yourself. All right. So, as I look back on 10 years of a career that clearly had not ended in the results that I had intended, And I faced a new year with my anthem being written by a band that I believe was called the Georgia Satellites. It filled my heart with heaviness. And I said, this cannot be the best way to begin 1994. And it was hard, because now every time there was a New Year's Eve and I wasn't out gigging, it kind of filled my heart with sorrow, because I remembered my brothers, my friends, all these people that I knew that I no longer spent any time with. We now lived in 4 different places all over the country, and it was really hard. In fact, 1994 was just brutal, and the only bright spot was that we had Philip in 1994. So it just reminds you that in the midst of all of the ups and the downs and the things, there's always something. There's always something that God does that you can look back and you can identify, and you say, there was something that good. Something that was good in 1994. But the rest of it, I think Maria can probably say, yeah, you can just pretty much have that. But here was a new season. One season was ending, and a new, incredible season of ministry was beginning for me. A season that has brought so much joy into my life. And it has its own challenges, but it was a whole new thing, and I had no idea. I had no idea what God was going to do in that transition. And I'm so glad He did it. And I'm so glad I didn't know what He was doing. Because had I known, I would have said, I don't think so, God. I think there's a whole different plan that's better, and I'm going to take my guitar and continue playing, and I'll get it figured out. Now, I want to suggest there's probably a whole lot of us that are starting 2009. I got a little change in my pocket. But I think that if we can keep sight of what God's doing, we can aspire to some greater things.